Next one, Daily Mail
glue,
again.
then.
This is a typical Daily Mail story about being angry about overtime. The police are paid overtime, and that's not right. That basically it boils down to if they pick up a phone to deal with a crime, it can cost £100 for one phone call.
This is quite disingenuous because it's a fixed rate of a minimum overtime payments that they
So
get.
if they only answer one call, that costs £100. Yeah, but they might answer 10 calls.
Yeah.
And you know, we do, you know, especially in the public sector, there is the chance to do overtime.
It's what they say on the calls that's important. Sorry, I can't help.
Yeah.
So there's no one here.
It's the dullest episode of The Bill you've ever seen, isn't it?
Crime
Hello?
Stoppers.
Yeah, no, sorry. Were you injured at work? That's probably what they're doing in the spare time.
Nothing wrong with those adverts, Steve.
There's nothing wrong with them.
Just so we make that absolutely clear.
Nothing wrong with them. Well,
no, there isn't. Not
there's nothing.
Not on Five.
Not
there
on
isn't.
Five. There's nothing wrong with them.
Brilliant adverts.
Yes. I have been injured at work. I've got a cut on my head, but I can't.
Really? Have you thought about claiming?
Yes, I have. But my producer told me to. You know. So that's a story about overtime and whether they should. But this is my favourite story. This is in the Daily Mirror. It's about an office worker who went to buy a quiche at a branch of Tesco's, and when she took it to the checkout, the girl asked for her ID, the checkout girl.
Which I still can't quite get my head round, is it?
Neither can Tesco's, to be fair. They're absolutely at a loss. She was extremely annoyed.
Oh, no.
You refused to pastry for it. I'm leaving, I'm going.
Did she whisk up a storm?
She whisked up a storm. Basically, you can't buy quiche if you're under 21 now, apparently. Why? Are you mad? Have you eaten a Tesco's quiche? It's full. I mean, I've seen kids on quiche, on a whole quiche, and they are crazy. Kids hanging around estates, eating quiche. It's a nightmare. You want to see what life's like on the streets. Not in Primrose Hill, where you live, but on the streets of London, where they're all high on quiche. We've got to put a lid on it.
They're quiche heads, then, yeah.
Quiche heads, exactly. Okay. It's a nightmare.
OK, bizarre, but true. And what have you got, Larry?
This is a story which you've covered previously on this show. Charity Baby P poster ban. This is the post your favourite outfit, PETA.
PETA, the self-righteous, self-appointed guardians of animal
People
welfare.
for the ethical treatment of animals. Put a poster up earlier, late last year. And it had a picture of Stephen Barker, the stepdad of Baby P, who, of course, killed Baby P, and it said, the poster said, animal abuser, baby abuser, rapist, people who are violent animals rarely stop there, which is true, it's a point. But it's now been banned this time.
The location of the poster
it was in North London, exactly, you know, in the same area.
It was less than a mile from where
it's been regarded as being,
you know,
insensitive and causing people distress, so they have now banned that. Moving on to another, it's actually a Sun story, but it's quite Daily Mail-ish. 27,000 new jail TVs, millions spent on sets for half of cells.
Oh, hi guys. Hi.
What I would say is
that you're watching.
What I would
Jeremy
say,
Kyle. So last year. Do you find time goes quicker in prison if you watch the right stuff? Sorry, you're on your video game. Never mind. Later. Sorry.
Of course, the point is we're all supposed to get absolutely furious that now half of all cells
I'm thrilled, but
have
TVs. I have an
interest. Have TVs. The point is it's to do with staffing levels. Prisoners can pay £1 a week for good behaviour to have their TVs. So it's a useful way to actually motivate them to not smash up their cells, for example. And it means that you can staff a prison in a much more lower way if you have people in their cells with the door closed, don't they? So it's about money.
They're forced to watch Kyle.
It's a punishment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Moving on to today's Times, forgetful mums-to-be can no longer blame it on the bump. This is a story that says that baby brain is actually a myth. They've done a new piece of research in Australia, and they got women and they've tested them every 4 years, did cognitive tests on them, and then some of them got pregnant, some of them had babies, and there was no change in each woman's cognitive ability.
Do you go along with that?
Absolutely, I do, because I think it's a kind of anti-mother myth. The fact is, you learn to do some things incredibly well. When you're tired, you're absolutely knackered, so your short-term memory is shot, but that comes back. but you
Doesn't
actually
it do
learn...
pregnancy baby brain?
Well,
or...
I think, again, you're tired because you're carrying... We've got a third more blood in your body. You're carrying around a baby. It's quite tiring, Matthew.
Yeah, okay.
And
It's not like guys don't know about
there's
tiring,
a wonderful
you know?
story about Einstein that I read in a book about the myth of the baby brain. And it said, you know, when Einstein used to lose money checks he'd been sent, nobody said, that Einstein, he's really stupid, isn't he? They said, he's quite busy.
Yeah.
So when a mum loses her car keys, she's not stupid. She's just quite busy.
OK, yeah, I got you.
Moving on to trust
Not
the mother's...
just forgetful.
Yes. Okay. Trust a mother's instinct on sick children, GPs are told. GPs have this standard kind of checklist of if you bring a child in, you need to, these are the things that kind of red flags. And they've now added if a parent is concerned about their child, because they now accept that actually parents know their children rather better. So if a parent says, yeah, but he's not himself, GPs now have to take notice of that.
Good.
So that's really good sign.
Perfectly logical.
And another thing about parents from today's Daily Star, to take it with a pinch of salt, your parents are all out of this world. This is a Cardiff University professor says actually human life on this planet didn't start on this planet, that 3,800 years ago aliens came to this planet, and that
3,800
yes.
years?
That's what it says here. It doesn't sound very much.
Sounds like a Scientologist. Oh, what have you got, Claire?
I have Daily Express, front page. Now, a pill that will help you live to 100.
No!
Yay!
No!
We can all live to 100 and beyond by taking one little pill.
Well, apart from you, we'll all be poor. We'll have no money. You'll still be
you know,
in your lovely
why would I be
glittery
worried
jacket
about that,
dancing
darling? No, but they've got there's 3 super genes apparently in people that are even obese or smoke 40 fags a day who keep living to 100. So they've managed to narrow it down, put it into one tiny pill, and we can just all take that and live to 100.
I just find it fascinating that anybody would want to. I really do. Anyway. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you know, working longer, who wants to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, health
I suppose
for
if your
life.
kids are looking after you, it gives you an incentive to go on and on. Bleed the little suckers dry.
Yes, exactly. My next story is from The Sun. Oscar, Brits fight for glory as sci-fi spectacular lands 9 nominations. Will anyone win against Avatar? This is, of course, that big old sci-fi movie that's, you know, blinding the world with its glory. But, of course, nominated...
Great acting, but it all looks like it's done by cartoons.
Well, it is, darling.
Yeah, so...
But, you know, there's probably human voices in there somewhere.
Right. Colin Firth is in there,
yeah,
Helen
Colin
Mirren,
Firth, Helen
others.
Mirren, and sort of newcomer, first role, actually, lead role, Kerry McGullen. So, and Helen's, of course, up against Kerry, so that should be interesting. Oh, yes, of course. The next one is The Sun, and this is Terry, all about his secret French lover. You know, John Terry's secret French lover, and, of course, she's headed off, apparently, with 1, 2, 3, 4 of the team. And
Plus John Terry.
Yes.
It is alleged, we should say.
Alleged, sorry, yes, and there's a 5th, apparently, question mark that we're all dying to know who it is.
So this idea that there's wonderful brotherhood who all stick together, somewhat you know, goes by the wayside.
So it's all the bloke's fault, nothing to do with her.
OK.
Just so we're clear,
takes 2 people. But this idea that you know,
in her case, it takes 5.
John Terry did this terrible thing by, you know, being disloyal to one of his teammates.
Even more incredible than any of that, Tosh, is the story in the Mirror about the fact she went out with Lee from Steps. Which is extraordinary on 2 counts.
She's got no taste whatsoever, obviously. She needs to get back to France.
I'm not saying anything, but what Lee said from Steps, that he wasn't famous or rich enough to keep her.
But he's a visionary.
Yeah. Music and yeah, absolutely. So, shall we, any more? Are we done?
Yes. University registrar's fake degree offer for spanking sessions. This is something up your alley, probably, darling. This is in the Daily Mail, page 5. It's a university registrar offered forged degree certificates to women in exchange for spanking sessions to satisfy his sexual fetishes. And they happen to be black bottoms, because he was into that, it says here. And he was... he did not want car for sex, but to indulge in his spanking fetish with her because she had a black bottom. How different?
Was the rest of her
Well,
black?
that,
black and blue bottom.
Yeah, but he was charging like £500 for upper second class bachelor's degree and £1,000 for a master's degree with distinction.
Really? Do you know, I actually have to say, I think it's worth it, don't you?
I'd have me ass spanked for a master's. That'd be good.
So I'd pay for all of that as well. Last one is a little story about Madge gives up on Jesus, and this is in The Sun, and the romance was killed by a 28-year age gap.
What a shame.
I know, terrible shame. But it is...
Yeah.
They have sort of...
Moral of the story, Jesus, never go out with a woman with more muscles than you, I
You
would
see.
say.